two of the most talked about compact drones right now. One costs around $230, the other costs $599, and that is before the controller. On paper, that price gap should make this comparison easy, but it does not. Because the Hover Air X1 Pro Max does things the Neo 2 simply cannot do, and the Neo 2 does things the Hover Air simply cannot do. So today, this video is for two types of people. If you already own one of these drones, by the end of this video, you will know exactly what you are missing and whether it is worth caring about. If you are planning to buy one, you will know which one fits how you actually create, not which one has better specs on paper. Which one fits you? Let us get into it. Before we compare anything, let me set the context properly because these two drones come from completely different philosophies. The DJI Neo 2 is built around one idea, and zero friction. You pick it up, press a button, and you are filming. 151 grams, no folding arms, fits in a jacket pocket with prop guards on, toss it in the air with your hand and it flies. No controller required. The Hover Air X1 Pro Max is built around a different idea. Maximum capability in minimum size, it folds down to roughly the footprint of a large smartphone. Fits in a hoodie front pocket or a backpack phone compartment. 192.5 grams, and it packs an 8K camera, 10-bit HDR log recording, and a 1/1.3-inch sensor into that tiny folded body. Two drones, two philosophies, both trying to solve the same problem. Give creators a drone they will actually carry everywhere. They just solve it differently. And understanding that difference is what this entire comparison comes down to. Side by side, the Hover Air X1 Pro Max wins on folded size. It is significantly smaller when packed away, about half the overall volume of the Neo 2. And if absolute pocket friendliness is your priority, the Hover Air is genuinely impressive in this regard and has won innovation awards for its design, but the Neo 2 is lighter. 151 grams versus 192.5 grams on the Hover Air. And that weight difference matters in two ways, regulatory and practical. In many regions, under 250 grams means significantly lighter legal requirements. Both clear that threshold, but the Neo 2 has more headroom. The Hover Air's foldable design does come with one trade-off worth mentioning. Hinges wear over time. The Neo 2's fixed frame means one less thing that can go wrong after extended use, and the Neo 2's removable prop guards are easy to replace if damaged, something that is more complicated on the Hover Air's built-in guard design. Noise is also worth mentioning. The Neo 2 runs slightly quieter, around 70 to 72 decibels versus 72 to 74 on the Hover Air. But the Hover Air also has a higher pitch whine versus the Neo 2's lower tone. In public spaces and natural environments, that difference is noticeable. Neither drone is loud by drone standards, but quieter is always better when you are trying not to draw attention. Let me be completely honest here, because this is where the Hover Air X1 Pro Max makes its strongest argument. The camera is better, meaningfully better. 48 megapixel sensor, 1/1.3-inch CMOS 8K at 30 frames per second, i4K at 120 frames per second for slow motion, 10-bit HDR, log color profile, 100 megabits per second bitrate at 4K 60. Compare that to the Neo 2, 12 megapixels, 1/2-inch sensor, 4K at 60 frames per second, 50 megabits per second, no log profile, no HDR. On a large monitor, pixel peeping, grading in post, the Hover Air footage is noticeably better. More detail, better color depth, more flexibility in post-production. But here is the honest context. For most people watching content on a phone, a tablet, or even a TV, the gap is smaller than the spec sheet suggests. The Neo 2's 4K 60 footage looks genuinely good enough for professional use in many contexts, good enough that most viewers will not know the difference. The 8K on the Hover Air is also limited to manual flight modes only. The moment you switch to tracking or automated shots, it drops to 4K. So if you are buying the Hover Air specifically for 8K tracking footage, that is not how it works if you grade heavily, shoot commercially, and need the best possible files. The Hover Air camera is the right tool. If you shoot for social media, YouTube, travel content, or personal use, the Neo 2 footage will serve you well without the extra cost. Storage is one more practical point. Hover Air has 64 gigabytes internal, plus a micro SD slot up to 1 terabyte. Neo 2 has 49 gigabytes internal and no SD card slot. If you shoot long sessions, the Hover Air's storage flexibility is a genuine advantage. This is where the comparison gets really interesting, and where the Neo 2 makes its strongest argument. Both drones were put through identical tracking tests, cycling at 35 to 45 kilometers per hour. Trail riding through trees and branches, narrow passageways with heavy brush, on foot through dense tree sections, and hiding behind objects to test reacquisition. Let me give you the results directly. In open cycling, follow at moderate speeds. Both drones performed well, kept the subject in frame, maintained consistent distance, produced smooth, usable footage, right? At this level, the performance is comparable. In narrow bush and branch sections, this is where everything changed. The Neo 2 went through. Every time. Even when branches made contact with the drone, it recovered, maintained tracking, and kept flying. Like, there were moments that would have ended the flight on almost any other drone in this category, like in the Neo 2 just found a way through. The Hover Air X1 Pro Max crashed in the exact same section, not once, twice. Both times caught in branches and aborted the flight. That difference is not subtle. If you fly in natural environments around trees through tight spaces, that gap in obstacle avoidance is the most important thing in this entire comparison. Like, hover stability is another area where the Neo 2 wins clearly. In indoor tests without wind, the Hover Air drifts noticeably, or even over uniform surfaces. The Neo 2 holds position with significantly less movement. DJI's hover technology is simply more refined. Hand landing recognition is also better on the Neo 2. The Hover Air sometimes requires you to hold your hand very close and wait several seconds for recognition. Right, the Neo 2 recognizes the hand landing gesture quickly and consistently from a reasonable distance. Tracking reacquisition, when you hide behind an object and come back into frame, both drones regain lock. But the Neo 2 does it more reliably across different scenarios. The Hover Air does have one unique tracking advantage worth mentioning. Its dolly track mode produces notably smoother, more stable tracking footage with less sway. If cinematic consistency in tracking shots is your priority, a dolly mode on the Hover Air is genuinely impressive and something the Neo 2 does not offer. Both drones fly hands-free. Both have built-in displays. Both connect to a smartphone app for full manual control. But the control ecosystem is very different. The Neo 2 with the RC2 controller and transceiver module gives you up to 10 kilometers of range with an HD feed. That is serious range for a drone this size. Like the Hover Air's beacon controller, which costs an extra $240 on top of the drone, gives you around 1 kilometer. Both have similar Wi-Fi range of a few hundred meters without a dedicated controller. If range matters to you, the Neo 2 wins by a significant margin. The beacon controller design is genuinely innovative though. Modular, one-handed mode, motion controllers, mountable display for bike stems or backpacks. For active sports creators, it is a thoughtful design that the standard RC2 does not match ergonomically. The Neo 2 also has gesture controls that work almost flawlessly. Raise your hand, control the drone, change tracking angles, land, all without touching your phone. The Hover Air has gesture controls too, but they are less reliable and responsive in real use. Voice commands are another Neo 2 exclusive. Pair with your phone and you can launch modes, start recording, then control the drone verbally. Small feature, but for solo creators, it removes one more barrier between an idea and actually capturing it. Both drones were tested in a controlled hover drain from 100 to 0% with minimal wind. Neo 2 lasted 15 minutes and 37 seconds. Hover Air X1 Pro Max lasted 14 minutes and 22 seconds. In real-world flying, expect 8 to 12 minutes on both platforms depending on conditions and flying style. The Neo 2 edges ahead slightly on battery life. Not dramatically, but every second in the air counts when you're trying to finish a shot. One practical advantage the Hover Air has here, it charges via USB-C universally, convenient for travel. The Neo 2 charging setup requires its own hub and cables. Let me be direct about this because it is the most useful thing I can tell you. Buy the DJI Neo 2 if you want the best tracking performance in this category. You fly in complex environments with trees, obstacles, and tight spaces. You value zero friction launch and hands-free operation. You want longer range with a dedicated controller. You are a solo creator who relies on gesture controls and autonomous flight. You want the best value per dollar in this category by a significant margin. Buy the Hover Air X1 Pro Max if camera quality is your absolute priority and you grade footage professionally. You need 10-bit log recording and HDR capability. While you want the most compact folded footprint possible. You primarily shoot in open environments where obstacle avoidance is less critical. You are willing to pay significantly more for better image quality and storage flexibility. If you already own the Neo 2, what you are missing is the Hover Air's camera ceiling, log color profile, and the dolly track mode smoothness. For most creators, those gaps will not change your daily flying experience. If you already own the Hover Air X1 Pro Max, reicht ihr leicht. What you are missing is the Neo 2's obstacle avoidance confidence, hover stability, range capability, and the completely frictionless launch experience. If you have ever aborted a shot because the Hover Air crashed in a narrow space, that frustration does not exist on the Neo 2. So, two great drones, two completely different strengths. The Hover Air X1 Pro Max is the better camera. The Neo 2 is the better drone. That is not a knock on either of them. It is just honest. If what you need is the most capable imaging in the smallest package, the Hover Air delivers that. The premium is real, but so is the image quality. If what you need is a drone you can take anywhere, trust in complex environments, launch in seconds, and fly with total confidence, the Neo 2 is one of the best things DJI has ever made at this price point. And for most creators, the Neo 2 wins this comparison. Not because the Hover Air is bad, because the Neo 2 does more of what most people actually need for significantly less money. Drop in the comments, which one would you choose? And if you own either of these, what has your real-world experience been? I read everything. If you want to see everything the Neo 2 is capable of, I have a full 3 months honest review on the channel. Link in the description, and subscribe so you do not miss the accessories video coming very soon.